I've already explained that in 2022, we're going to, everything we're talking about now that we're just discovering is going to be known publicly by everyone by 2022. They're going to be talking about the AI being God. They're going to talk about transhumanism and humans being able to be like these supercomputers, or supercomputers being made like humans, or whatever. We probably will have, an event or something, and the Prince of Persia will definitely be the King of Persia. He will be showing up. His mask will be falling, and we will know who he is. I assume that perhaps some kind of event of us going to the wilderness will have happened by that time. Now that is small change to what I'm trying to explain to you right now. Pretty much, I just rip off the Band-Aid. Apparently, we have already changed dimensions, okay? Apparently, we are no longer in Kansas, Dorothy. We have already jumped. So the planet Earth reality that we are in right now is not what we grew up in. It is not. It is not. This is called the Mandela Effect. The Mandela Effect seems to be caused by the D-Wave quantum computer. The people who are looking into this, not the scientists too, yeah, they say exactly what I'm saying. It's not even a conspiracy theory. They just say it. The people like me, just regular people who are noticing stuff and talking about it on YouTube. If you just Google Mandela Effect, D-Wave, quantum computers, time travel, or any of those keywords, you're just going to find channel after channel of people talking about this stuff. So the people that are noticing this stuff and trying to understand it, we don't. They don't understand it. It's like we don't get it. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe you know. I don't know. I can't explain it. I cannot explain multiple universes. What I can say is that they clearly state that there are parallel universes or multiple dimensions, and with the quantum computers, they are going to those places. They're opening up the doors to those places, and they are sucking out, quote unquote, sucking out resources. I'm going to show you the video to this. And so what I'm saying is them doing whatever the heck they're doing with CERN and these quantum computers, and who knows, probably time travel, because that would give them the technology for that, all of this stuff, has somehow changed our reality. Just like in every TV show you've ever seen, every movie, every TV show ever, just like those. Okay, so if you watch The Flash, he explains, if I'm talking and it sounds like Russian to you, watch The Flash and it is exactly what I'm telling you. All right. But saying it has already happened. We have already jumped to another dimension. Now, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the video, that it should freak you out, because when I say this, it just sounds like mouth words. It sounds like me saying 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 Z, blah, blah, blah. That's what it sounds like. The moment you really start to integrate into yourself that, what the heck? This is a different planet? You freak out, all right? Not only is this a different planet, but this planet is being run by demonic entities and artificial intelligence. Okay, so let's keep going.
This World War III, he said, you were not on Earth. He said, you were already in heaven. Apparently, I'm going to be up in heaven before this happens. He said, with World War III, he said, Mom, he said, people think they're going to have to worry about World War III. He said, that's not what people have to worry about, Mom. He said, there's something bad and evil coming. And I said, oh, really? I said, what's that? And he said, it's the war of the demons, the war of the alien demons. That's what he called them. He's called them alien demons. He said, that there were these creatures, these demon alien type creatures, and he said they were evil and they were part of Satan's army, and that Satan was going to wage war upon this world and try to destroy everyone here. And he said World War III is going to be bad. He said, but it's nothing compared to the war that is coming from the alien demonic beings. He said they were going to come to earth and try to destroy it, and they were going to eat people. This is what he told me. He said they were going to eat people. These demon alien things. And as you know, there are no aliens. They are going to portray themselves as aliens, but they're demons. He said they were demons. He called them demonic aliens, but he said they were demons. They were creatures, and they were from Satan. And he said they...
Blue Moon 71717. And we have the 444. So the reason I'm showing you this, you can watch this video, look it up, Angel White. I'm not saying I agree with the man. I'm not saying I disagree with the man. I have so much information going around inside of me right now that I am incapable of agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just over it all. I'm fed up. I can't do anymore. But the reason I'm showing it to you is because we have the 717. 717, 717, 717. If you've watched the whole series, you understand, you should remember how important the 717 is. So it's right here, and he breaks it down. And of course, it's in conjunction with the 444. So believe what he says or don't believe what he says. I don't know, that's up to you. I just want to point out the holy letters. All right, so some of these videos, this is just stuff that has come up over the past day or two when I was trying to explain, you know, what I believe the Holy Spirit is warning us about the danger of what the enemy is preparing for us. The enemy is preparing a horrible thing to trap us here, okay? And this is the Holy Spirit warning the body of Christ against this, all right? And to give us the good news that there is an escape. We will be protected from it, but in order to be protected, you have to be connected to the right frequency. You have to be connected to Yahushua. That is the only way you're getting out of this situation. It is the only way. It is the only way. The only thing you can do is connect to Yeshua Hamashiach. Do your spiritual practice daily, weekly, monthly, like I told you in this video, like I showed you exactly what needs to be done at the minimum. Okay, you need to do that to stay connected so that whenever this thing is going to shift, and it's going to shift, this planet that's coming, Planet X, and this D-Wave computer and all of this manipulation that's going on, natural and unnatural, things are going to keep shifting. We are definitely going to keep jumping. Okay, so that is the only way that you're going to get out of this situation. Nothing else. No fighting. No. You can fight spiritually. Spiritually, you can fight against the demons and the powers of darkness and high places. But that's it. All right, so in this video, new DNA computer outperforms quantum computers. So this is where in this video they start to explain the difference about the DNA computers, which, like I said, is symbolically represented by the 444. If a DNA computer that uses just 4 bases could outperform tomorrow's fastest quantum computers, then imagine what a machine that uses 6 DNA bases could achieve. Fast wouldn't be the word. One day maybe we'll combine them with chemical computers that can turn, this is the point, that can turn your own body into a computer. You tell me I'm crazy. You leave a message and be like, you crazy. Go ahead. Because that is, they say it in their articles and in their videos and on their websites. It is what they are working on, to turn your body into a computer. And artificially creating DNA to turn computers into bodies. I want you to notice April 20th. Now that is the prophetic date that we talked about as a Hebrew year. It is the prophetic date that we talked about where it was the end of Noah's reign. It's the prophetic date that was given to me audibly in my ear. In 12 weeks the bad man comes. It is the day, April 19th, because the Hebrew day is the 19th to the 20th. It is the day, the prophetic day where Trump won New York. This is a highly, highly prophetic day. That is the day this video came out, right here. This is another video, as I said, feel free to look it up if you want. Now, the sources I have are highly, highly credible, and I did my best to not click on YouTubers giving their opinion, but to get it from the horse's mouth. The World Economic Forum, and this is from Davos. This is a presentation from the guy at Davos. This is the people doing it right here, saying it. So, future computing, DNA hard drives.
So I want to emphasize not a transcript of what he said, the actual recording of what he said in an MP3 format, recorded into our DNA code, written into pieces of DNA. Because we're molecular biologists at heart, a PDF copy of the Watson and Crick paper from 1953 describing the helix structure of DNA in living cells. And we encoded those, and we had that made into DNA by the Agilent company in California. And it came in a test tube exactly like that one. It wasn't nearly full. In fact, when it arrived on I opened the box up and I held it up and I thought something had gone wrong because it was empty. And my more skilled molecular biology friends had to explain to me that tiny smudge of dry dust sticking to the bottom of the tube was the actual DNA. And it was a tiny, tiny speck. If the whole thing was full, we would have a petabyte of information in there. And that's hard to imagine what something the size of your finger with a petabyte of information is. So in other terms, I've just paced out the size of the stage. And by my calculations, if you laid out CD-ROMs all over the stage, you'd get about 1,000 of them on here. If you did that 1,000 deep, so it'd be up to about here somewhere, this whole stage this deep in CDs, right, that's a petabyte. So you can either have that much information stored in that format or something the size of your finger in DNA. So it's really compact. That's why earlier on I reminded you that DNA is very small. But if you want an easier image to take home with you, you could get all the information in the whole world encoded in a DNA format in the back of one, and for Americans in one SUV, and for the English in the back of one estate car. So you don't need many data centers all over the world. All that much information, in principle, would fit in one vehicle.
This video right here, using your DNA as a hard drive. So this was a cute little 3-4 minute video, and he explains everything that this guy explains in 4 minutes. And also 237 comments. So that's my holy letter. 723-237 is my birthday, July 23rd. So I was the 237th person to comment. You see, I wrote it right here.
You're a big giant hard drive. That is neither a euphemism nor is it an insult. All the data about what makes you you is stored inside of you on DNA, and that's a lot of complex information in a very tiny space. Almost every cell in your body has a DNA strand in it. So that kind of makes DNA the ultimate storage medium. So how do I get my torrents on it? Well, you can't yet, but some scientists are actually working on just that. Nick Goldman and Ewan Burney work at the European Bioinformatics Institute, and they managed to get all of Shakespeare's sonnets, a recording of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream, a photo of their lab, and a research paper all onto a strand of DNA that's barely visible in a test tube. And then they got a computer to play it back. How the heck did they do this black magic? Okay, well, bear with me here. Binary code is all ones and zeros. Computers read this huge string of ones and zeros and they assemble it into a file. DNA is a huge string too, but instead of ones and zeros, it's chemicals, guanine, cytosine, adenine, and thymine. G-C-A-T. The guys basically just made each of these chemicals represent a 1 or a 0. Boom. New file structure. And because they have 4 building blocks to work with instead of 2, they even built some redundancy into the files. So, you know, scratch a DVD or get a bad sector on a hard drive and you're toast. But by making it so no chemical ever repeats in a sequence, no 2 guanines in a row, for instance, if one goes bad, you can tell what's missing and replace it. And then, just to show off, they also found a way to encode it so the file is readable forwards and backwards. Well played, dudes. So how much data are we talking about here? Well, how about storing 150,000 DVDs worth of files in a space the size of your little finger? If you consider that all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad fit onto 22 DVDs, including extras, that is a lot of data. Now, all of the data the entire internet transmits in a month, everything everyone does on the internet fits in 2 pounds of DNA. Now, you've got 6 picograms of DNA in each one of your cells. You got an average of 10 to the 14th power cells in the human body, so you've got 600 grams of DNA in you. That's about a pound. So the amount of DNA it takes you and a friend to exist would cover roughly all of the internet activity in the world for 30 days. So obviously, give me this magic hard drive, right? Well, not just yet. It costs anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to synthesize DNA right now, and sequencing it costs about as much. So to be practical, as a commercial product, we'd need the process to cost less than 1% of what it costs now, and we'd need that to happen within the next 50 years, because inflation and stuff. And of course, once we've all got DNA sequencers in our house, I'm sure that we'll have bigger issues on our minds than how much music we can store on it. Like, you know, changing our own genetic makeup on the fly. Little things like that. Man, things are gonna get so crazy in the next few decades. Let me know what...
And so then I found this video here, Mandela Effect, D-Wave Computing, Many Worlds Interpretation Must See. What was interesting about this video here? Venture capitalist explains how quantum computers harness parallel universes. So you guys, you know, again, I'm not talking out my backside here. So they're explaining how they use parallel universes to compute. I'm going to play the video and let them explain.
So it's interesting for supercomputing, but here's where it gets really, really crazy. Go forward just a little bit farther, faster than the universe. Now, what the hell does that mean? That means if you took all the matter of the universe and reconstituted it into the best computer that Intel could ever design, giving them the length of the universe to work on the problem. So the best theoretical computer that could be built, and you give that universe-sized computer the length of our universe in terms of history, how many, you know, the 13 billion years that we've been around, it still couldn't solve problems that the quantum computer could solve readily. That's mind-bending, and the only physics explanation for how it works is that it basically engages the computational resources of parallel universes. Now that is a point of competitive differentiation you don't often hear in a pitch, to say, Intel's just using this inner universe, well, how could they possibly compete, right? That's where my head explodes, but I think it's pretty exciting if I give it a 10% chance that it doesn't hit some roadblock like noise or something that makes it fall off the rails, and if it just keeps going a couple more, kind of like Moore's Law, just a couple more dots on that curve. They currently are bringing up their first 1,000-qubit machine as we speak.
I had the, in my mind, I was trying to digest last night, what does it even mean, a parallel universe? I mean, are you saying that there's different versions of me and different realities, or what's happening, you know? Because we've jumped, the world is slightly different, but we still have our memories, our original memories. So I'm not another version of myself, I'm still me, you know? And the people around me in my life, they're still them, but everything else is just a little bit off. So I was trying to wrap my mind around this, and then it did occur to me that it's possible that they're lying. Don't ever forget that they are liars. And that's how you know that you are a child of Satan, because you lie. If you lie, you are a child of Satan. That is the number one point. You cannot lie as a child of Yeshua Hamashiach. So don't lie. But they do it like part of their religion. Like we take communion, the wine and the bread, like they lie. Like, okay, that's a part of their religion. They have to lie. So we have to know that somewhere in here is a lie. And the lie might be very, very close to the truth, but just enough to, you know, take it off course. So I'm not saying it is a lie. What I'm considering is that instead they're saying that they're going to parallel universes to get this information as, you know, from the computer. They're putting very complex problems into this quantum computer, and the quantum computer is computing the answer from a parallel universe. and coming back and giving the answer to the human. What I'm saying that it's possible that they're just communicating with demons, that it is a big, expensive, elaborate Ouija board, and they're just talking to demonic spirits. It's possible. It's highly probable. And in some way, it is changing our world, and it might be making us jump to different versions of reality. But I am not sold on the idea that there's more than one of me. I think there's only one of me. And if there were multiple me's in different dimensions, they would be different spirits in those bodies. Because I got one spirit, and that spirit is in this body. It is not in another version of me in some other reality. So I don't believe that I believe that. But I don't know. Like I said, we have to pray on this. We have to look into it. We have to start to understand this, because it is affecting our daily. When you guys really start to understand my mouth words, when this finally dawns on you, when you go, oh, you should freak out. It is normal for you to be freaked out. And if you go through this information and never at any point do you freak out, there's a problem. There's a problem, because this is not okay. It's not okay, and it's not okay that no one's talking about it. It should be on the mainstream TV. We should have questions about this. Like, what the flip is going on here? So this is, I believe this is the same video, but I liked the quote here. The Mandela Effect is not time travel, because some people were thinking that because of time travel, we have these changes with the Mandela Effect. Time travel would not explain a lot of the changes we are seeing. I have a friend who I grew up with. We have existed together, yet experienced this reality completely different. We both turned into Sex in the City, yet he was always watching Sex and the City. At the same time, I was watching Sex in the City. By the way, I was watching Sex in the City, not Sex and the City. There is only one way to explain this as far as I am concerned, and that is that we are living in a computer-generated reality, a matrix, and we are all experiencing reality separately and therefore interpreting things differently. The line from the above, from the movie The Matrix is true, where he says no one can be told what the Matrix is. This is because we all experience it completely on our own and have different interpretations, because we are not all in the same place. There are two separate realities. There is one reality, and it is yours and yours alone. There are not two separate realities. Think of it this way: if the actress Sally Field really exists, why is it that there used to be footage of her accepting an award saying, "You like me, you really like me," and now there is footage of her accepting the award saying, "You like me right now, you really like me"?
And I can't deny the fact that you like me right now. You like me.
I guess this means you like me, you really like me.
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 You like me, you really like me. You love me, you really love me.
Like as Sally Field said, you really like me. You really like us. It is a great day, and you like me. You really like me.
Please stop that. We love you.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me right now. You like me.
The latter does not make any sense at all. Time travel would not explain this, because someone going back in time would not force her to say something that makes no sense. In time travel, you may be able to change some words around in history, but you would never be able to force an actress to say something that makes no sense at all. It appears to be a computer glitch. Just like in the Matrix movie, they talked about the black cat. When you see the black cat, it's a computer.
Deja vu.
What did you just say?
Nothing, just had a little deja vu.
What did you see?
What happened?
A black cat went past us, and then another that looked just like it.
How much like it? Was it the same cat?
Might have been, I'm not sure.
Switch, APOC.
What is it?
A deja vu is usually a glitch in the Matrix. It happens when they change something.
So it seems to be a computer glitch, kind of like all the Bible edits that Mandela has made. The Mandela Effect has made Bible changes of sentences which no longer make any sense whatsoever, which are so numerous that I can spend all day on. There is nothing real about this place. You are experiencing it all through your five senses. When you pop a CD in the CD player, there is not music playing in the room. It is frequency vibrations coming from your speakers, and your ears and your brain interpret what it sounds like. That is why it is music to your ears, and another will think that it is the worst thing they've ever heard. This is why when you eat, you love what you're eating, and another thinks it tastes horrible, and you can't understand it because you think it's great. Food has no taste until you, the observer of this world, determine what it tastes like. There is no food, and there is no music, and like they say in the Matrix movie, there is no spoon. And once you understand this is when you are free, pretty much. There are only observations in this mysterious matrix, and everyone observes individually. This is why you will never get everyone to agree. So what I'm saying is that we live in this matrix. It is just going to be fact as we go forward in the future, because all of the scientific experiments and technology they're coming up with, there's only one answer to that this is a matrix, okay? But they're going to change it, and they're going to say, well, now man is God, or the computer is God, or they're going to like distort it. But we know the truth. The truth is that when we are seeing these holy numbers, that is truth. That is John 1:1, the word. The word. These holy letters are the letters of his holy name. And that's when we get into pi, and that's when we get into the Fibonacci. What I'm trying to say is that the real creator, the Most High Father, who actually created all of creation, all of the universe, the spiritual and the physical, everything, the Most High Father, creator of the all. When we're seeing these holy letters, that is him speaking to us. Okay, I'm not talking about if you look on the computer and then you notice 444. That could be. God can speak to us when and how he wants. But I'm saying when you're walking down the street and you keep seeing the same letters and this holy letters and, the telephone numbers and whatever is happening in your natural life, that is the Most High Father speaking to us. And that is what's going to keep us from getting lost in this tidal wave that is coming for the body of Christ. Is that 2022, guys? It's coming. It's coming. The only way to not lose your mind when this stuff hits the mainstream is to be connected to Yahushua and be doing your daily, weekly, monthly spiritual practice to stay connected to Yahushua no matter how this world gets shaken. And it's going to shake in every way. Spiritually, physically, mentally, every way it's going to be turned on its head upside down. Do you hear me, saints? I don't think you're not understanding me yet. You're not. You're not understanding me. If you're not freaking out, you're not understanding me yet. And I want you to freak out. I want you to freak out now. Because if you freak out now, you can get your spiritual practice together, get your spiritual house in order, and you can get strong, and you will be ready for this when it actually happens. The whole world will be freaking out, and we will be over it. It'll be passé for us. We'll be like, yeah, okay, we're living in a different multiple reality. And so what? We'll be over it by then, and we'll understand what we have to do and what's happening. We'll have clarity, and we'll be all right. But you got to deal with this now. Don't put this off. And you'll be able to help your loved ones. Because danger, danger, danger. That's exactly the point. The world is already satanic and corrupt. So you give these satanic and corrupt people this kind of God power? God power? Finished. Finished. So all of this is happening because it's the logical conclusion to humans on earth in this situation. It's when we try to build that ladder, that Tower of Babylon or Jacob's ladder, and we get chopped down, you know, because you can't, this would be okay if we had Christ's mind, you know, but we don't. This is satanic, all of it, the planet. It doesn't work. It's impossible. You cannot have this and have ego and have hate and have evil. It's impossible. You end up killing yourself every single time, over and over. It never works. Mandela Effect, 20 minutes that will open your eyes. Google and NASA launch quantum computing AI lab. The Quantum Artificial Intelligence Lab will use the most advanced commercially available quantum computer, the D-Wave 2. So this is from MIT. It's not conspiracy, it is from the horse's mouth.
But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about quantum computers and why people care so much about them. There are literally tens of thousands of some of the brightest people in the world today trying to build these machines and understand them. And I'm going to tell you why. But there is a very clear prediction that our most successful theory of nature makes, and that is that there are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number, of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch, and whether you chose to come to this session or not. Quantum mechanics makes a very specific prediction that all of those are as real as the thing that you remember. And this is bizarre, because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these that we have within, or almost within our grasp right now. So people from a physics background love this. They want to understand the world. They want to understand the universe, how it all works. There's another type of person who tends to come from the computer science side that's like, yeah, okay, that's all great. But there's a different thing going on here, which is just as exciting, if not more, and that these machines that supposedly can do this wild stuff, let's forget about how they work, if you could build one, could solve problems that you could never, ever solve with any computer of the sort that we built. If you took every single atom of silicon in the world and made the most sophisticated conventional Intel-style processor that you could build, there are problems we know of that I could write down on a sheet of paper that you could never, ever, ever solve with that thing, that you could with this kind of machine. So that's very exciting. Humans use tools to do things. If you give humans a new kind of tool that can do things that you couldn't otherwise do, imagine the possibilities. So you may think, well, this is all fine and dandy, but aren't these things in the realm of theory and speculation kind of in the same regime as other futuristic things you may have heard of which may be allowed by the laws of physics but aren't here yet? That's not true. There are, in fact, many of these machines deployed now in openly available research centers following the model that was used to introduce supercomputers to the world. They're too big and ornery and difficult to operate to put in your home, too expensive also, but you can give them to a place which will manage them as a shared resource that will offer that service to the world. And there are two of these now. One of them is at the University of Southern California. And this analogy with flight, I think, is an interesting one. So a horse can beat, or could beat, the initial flight of the Wright brothers' flight in speed. But a plane is not a faster horse. A plane is a different kind of machine. The plane takes advantage of another thing, another resource that nature gives us, this third dimension, in order to do something that matters to people better that you could do with any horse. It doesn't matter how fast you make a horse, it will never fly, at least the kinds of horses that we know about. So these types of computers now are being thought of in the same way. They're not terrifically powerful yet, but they're doing something completely different than what your computer does. And that thing is like flight. It gives these computers access to these new resources, maybe you could call them parallel universes, in order to do something that you couldn't otherwise do. And that's not the only one. In fact, the one I'm going to come back to and talk to in the context of the story that I'm wrapping this in was recently installed at NASA. And Google was the primary interested party that pulled this whole thing together. And this one is really exciting to me, because what they're going to do is apply this machine to an area that I think is fundamentally important. It's a crux of our future as humans, and that's, can we build machines like us? So building machines like us might be possible. I certainly believe it is. I might be wrong. But what I do know is that the types of approaches that people are taking now to build intelligent machines benefit immensely from what this machine that we've built does best. So what this center is about is applying this beautiful new computational idea in the service of trying to make intelligent machines. Now, I can't think of anything personally any cooler than trying to use quantum computers to build intelligent machines, so this is very exciting to me. This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines. At the heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go. I'm not going to describe in any mathematical detail how it all works, but let me give you an analogy. In quantum mechanics, there's this concept that a thing can exist in two states which are mutually exclusive at the same time, quote unquote. So I'm using those words because the English language was developed before we had concepts to describe what these things actually are doing. But I'm going to give you a roundabout way of understanding this. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there, and now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing, with only one difference. And that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip, which is a contraction of quantum bit. And that qubit is very much like a bit or a transistor in a conventional computer. It has two distinct physical states, which we call 0 and 1 for bit. In a conventional computer, these are mutually exclusive. That device is either one or the other and never anything else. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And when you increase the number of these devices, Every time you add one of these qubits, you double the number of these parallel universes that you have access to, until such time when you get to a chip like this, which is about 500 of these bits, you have something like 2 to the 500th power of these guys living in that chip. So the way I think about it is that the shadows of these parallel worlds overlap with ours. And if we're smart enough, we can dive into them and grab their resources and pull them back into ours to make an effect in our world. Now, this may sound very odd to you and bizarre, and in fact, I am using language that a normal theoretical physicist probably wouldn't use, but this is, what I'm telling you is absolutely correct and in line with the way that these things actually work. We've been doing this for some time now, and in fact, we have our own version of Moore's Law. The doubling of the number of these qubits on the chip has happened once a year for the past 9 years. So for the last 9 years, every year, the number of these qubit devices has doubled, and it will continue to do so. As a point of reference, in terms of how fast these things are, in one generation of chip, the one from the system that was installed at USC to the one that Google and NASA have now, the speed of the device went up by almost 500,000. This is the kind of progress that you're going to see with these types of machines going forward. And 500,000 sounds like an abstract number, but I put up a little mental comparison here to see what 5,000 really means. 500,000 is a big number when it comes to speed. All right, so now I'm getting into the last part of my talk where I'm going to make some predictions, some dangerous predictions. So predictions are very dangerous for a variety of reasons. Often they're wrong, which is one. But I think they're important because predictions somehow are our internal desires made manifest. Predictions are about what we want to happen, maybe not what will happen. And I'm going to make 3 predictions, and all of them are dangerous in the sense that they're very unlikely to happen, maybe, but I think that there's a very good chance that they may. Computers haven't been around for a long time. And I think that what's going to happen is that as people get more comfortable with computers, the attention will turn from the Twitters and the Facebooks to very important things. So here's my first prediction. I'm going to predict that by 5 years, NASA will have found an Earth-like planet with Earth-like atmosphere and water on it, and serious people will start discussing how we get there. And by the way, they're going to use one of our machines to help do this. So that's my first prediction. My second prediction is that this business of parallel universes is going to turn out to be very important. This picture that I've got under here is what's called a gravitational lens. When Einstein proposed his general theory of relativity, it came with a bunch of experiments that you could use to test it. And one of them was that if there was a point of light very far away and a galaxy in the middle, that galaxy should bend the light and you should see a ring. And this was eventually observed. And I think what's going to happen is somebody is going to come up with an experiment to test this reality of these things. And we're going to be able to do so. My third prediction that I'm going to end on is the most important of all. I believe that humanity is on the cusp of the most important technological, societal revolution that's ever occurred. And that's when we got to the point where the machines that we build outpace us in every respect. I don't mean that they're better calculators. I don't mean that they're better at searching. I mean everything. And I think that we're very close. And my prediction is that within 15 years, we will have machines that outpace humans in everything. Thank you very much.
Closing remarks would be, please prepare yourself for whatever the Holy Spirit is warning us against here. Prepare yourself now and get strong now. We have 3.5 years to 4.5 years to prepare for whatever the evil ones are cooking up to capture us and concocting for us. You know, we have the time to get strong and to be able to connect with Yeshua Hamashiach so that we will be well, okay? And when these things start to happen in 2022, from that point on, other people will be freaking out and we will be able to help them. We will be able to, the ones that do not go to heaven to be with the Father, the ones that stay, we will be able to help them. And we will be a functioning unit as the body of Christ here on earth as harvest workers to do the job that we have been put here to do. So if you're going to freak out now. Get over it. Move on. Keep focusing on the work we have to do, which is we are fishermen of men. Yes, saints? I can't think of anything else to add. I think I've said it all. Please let me know what you think, how you feel in the comments, or come join me on the Wakefulness Theology group on Facebook. And let's talk about this, saints. I think that's the most important thing, is that we have to be talking about this. Naivety and spiritual immaturity is no longer an option. We are obligated, in order to survive, we are obligated to grow up and fast. All right? So love you, God bless you, and shalom.